your mouth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Believe in your heart, you shall be saved. But somehow the sin of his flesh got a hold of him that it blocked and blinded his mind from thinking. Because he was frustrated. And when you find yourself separated from God, you go crazy. You run around with your head cut off. You try this. You try that. You drink this. Thinking problem will go away, and they still there. But when you are connected to Christ, connected to his will, you can say, Father, I can't take it, but I know you can. And I want to remind you, it might hurt, but God is still there. Because sometimes God's got to allow a little hurt to come to us. That we can lean on him. If God never let us hurt, then a lot of us be running around here spoiled as rotten. Doing what we can, whenever we can, to whoever we can. And then we'll become undercovers. You got to walk in his will. And the only way you can know it, you got to take time to meditate on his word. I don't care how much stuff you have done in your life, how many degrees you got in your life, what position in the community you have. If you don't have Christ, you ain't nothing. You can't let your hang-ups take you out. You got to know Christ and declare victory in spite of whatever I'm going through. And I want to remind you, until God bring you home, you are a sinner saved by grace. You will never be free from sin until you come home. But you have the power to overcome sin. That is the difference. You'll never be free, but you have the power to resist. The power to overcome sin. But the end result is that Judas hung himself. Because he couldn't take the pain. He couldn't take the frustration of knowing that he didn't do right. He couldn't take what he done. But he didn't know it had to be done. But he could have changed the outcome by confessing hope in Christ. So as the doors of the church open, you got to realize that God knew that you and I will have hang-ups. So instead of God letting you and I take ourselves out, he sent Jesus. And Jesus hung your hang-ups on a cross of Calvary. Every nail had your name and my name in it. Every lash on his back had us written all on him. But because he knew that victory was in him through his death, he hung. He hung till the sun went in. He hung. He hung till the earth began to get dark. He hung. He hung till he gave up the ghost, said it is finished. And while he hung, the earth began to rock because he was hanging. But he came down off Calvary, buried in a borrowed tomb. Stay there Friday. Stay there Saturday. Early Sunday morning, he got up out of the grave with all power. That power says to you and me that you don't have to let your hang-up take you out. Just declare me, and I'll pick you up. So I'll remind you this morning that if you got a hang-up, why don't you come to Jesus? Maybe you came to Jesus and been away from Jesus a long time. Why don't you come to rededicate your life and say, Father, help me to be able to walk the path that Jesus showed me how to walk. I will remind you that God always got his hands open, waiting for you and I to come. Why don't we come? The doors of the church are open. Don't let our hang up take us out. Come to Jesus. By letter, if your church is not up the street, Christian experiences, church is no more in existence anymore, but you've been baptized, or maybe by baptism because you have never been baptized into the liquid grave to remind you that he died and rose, and you want to be taught the newness of life. Why don't you come? Maybe you want to rededicate your life to Christ, that you find your life is all out of whack and out of control, but the only one that can help you is Jesus. Why don't you come? Maybe for prayer. Why don't you come as the doors of the church open? That's our prayer. We don't know the next hour, the next minute, or the next second. But the question is, do you know Christ for yourself? Is heaven your home, or is hell your boundary?